Now, Grant Beth and Luke Pulaski, who both juniors at the University of Wisconsin at La Crosse, who say they were thrown out of the rally after that exchange with Kamala Harris. Now, Grant, what'd you go through your mind when you heard the vice president address the two of you as she did?
Honestly, my message was heard in that moment. So I wasn't really thinking about Kamala Harris. Obviously, she told us to leave her rally just for talking about our faith and saying Christ is King, Jesus is Lord. We were mocked not only by Kamala Harris, but by her patrons as well. I think it's important to understand that, we were cursed at. I was assaulted at the rally, and Kamala Harris doesn't care about Christians in this country, and that is why we have this platform here today.
Wait, you were assaulted? Tell me about that.
I was assaulted. I was assaulted by a woman. You can see in that video on your right there. I was assaulted by a woman probably in her 70s or 80s. She pushed me in the back. I continued to walk and preach that Jesus is Lord and Christ is King. And that's about it. I continued to speak for my Lord. And
well, she pushed you.
Kamala denounced me.
Luke, you look like a pretty fit guy, like a 7-year-old. She assaulted you. She pushed you. She sounded like she was like sort of a typical, older feminist response to these things. But Luke, until recently, I know you were is that true? You were an undecided voter? Is that right?
That's correct.
Well, what changed your mind, and what are you doing now?
So for a little backstory, I personally went to the Trump town hall for undecided voters here about 6 weeks ago. Had some really good conversations with Trump supporters on why he deserves my vote. That was pretty much our purpose of going to this rally too, for me personally. We had some good conversations with Kamala Harris supporters on why we should vote for her and why we should not vote for Trump. But there was a lot of good conversation, but there was some bad as well. I remember a man getting in our face, damn near spitting on us. But when she talked about abortion, something went through my mind that as a Christian, it's just not right. And that's when I decided to speak up and say Jesus is Lord. And after her response, it's clear she doesn't deserve my vote and she doesn't care about Christianity.
Well, to both of you, do you think this is, Grant, a trend among Democrats that just kind of disdain for Christians, certainly vocal Christians? I mean, if you're a quiet Christian and you never speak up, then I guess you're okay. But if you're a vocal Christian and you evangelize wherever you are, then do you feel like you're looked down upon?
I don't feel like I'm looked down upon at all. Because I only answer to one person, and that's my Lord and Savior. But I do feel like this is a trend not only in politics, but around this country. It's been a trend over the last probably, my whole entire life. And I do feel like it will continue with Kamala Harris. Christians make up a third of this world, and probably 50 to 60% of this country. And it's a very dangerous thing when a presidential candidate says public things against a religion. That it makes no sense, and it's very disheartening as a young American and someone who believes in God.
Well, and free speech, your freedom to express
absolutely
what you believe. And if you had come out and screamed out that you were transitioning, you would have gotten a standing ovation by the crowd. But, you said what you said, and that was not acceptable. It's not the first time Jesus has heard something like that, though, Luke and Grant, so not the first time someone's rejected him. Thank you both for sharing your stories.